What's up, everybody, and welcome to the International 3 Western Qualifiers, and this is Group B of the qualifiers. Group A featured teams like DD, Empire, Roxkiss, and one other team that I have unfortunately forgotten for them, but hopefully they can excuse me. Oh, Absolute Legends, yes, they were in Group A. Meanwhile, Group B features teams like QPAD, Evil Geniuses, IC Cup, and Mouse. And most people seem to think that EG and Mouse have the severe advantage in terms of taking home the both of the top two slots, and keep in mind both of the top two teams do go to Seattle. One will directly qualify into the international, and one will have to play in a wild card match against the second place runner-up in the Eastern qualifiers. So we'll see how these teams perform. EG has been performing extremely well, even though I haven't casted many of their winning games recently. You know, QPAD has been struggling, but their practice schedule is quite intense, or so I've been told, as they have been scrimming day and night just to get ready. We'll see if all that practice has paid off, but EG also are in their own team house, so this is a battle of two of the only teams with team houses, and EG so far has shown a better performance just into the couple weeks leading up into this matchup. But hopefully QPAD can sort of give us a good showing, and this is actually game number 2, so game number 1, spoiler alert, QPAD did lose, unfortunately for them. They went with a Phantom Lancer lineup, and unfortunately they did end up losing, as EG, I think, managed to overpower them. I think they got a Storm choice. I'm not too sure. I have not actually watched any of the games from this qualifier thus far, but hopefully this is an interesting game, as some of these matches, for the most part, have not been too interesting, but we'll see if this match can change that. So EG gonna ban out the Shadowing as well as the Magnus, so they're not gonna get that Demon Mag with the first choice, and that means that Keeper of the Light, who is still placed in high regard, is gonna be left in the pool, as well as the Lifestealer. And meanwhile, QPAD gonna immediately respond with the Wisp, and Mini's Wisp. It's been a long time since I've had the pleasure to cast a Mini Wisp game, as his Wisp is definitely really strong in the Western scene. Definitely one of the best Wisps in the Western scene, and we'll see if he can make great usage of this, because QPAD, if they lose this match, they're knocked immediately to the lower bracket of their group stages. And keep in mind, the top two of each group move out. So, considering that they're in a group with EG and Mouse, EG and Mouse are the overwhelming favorites to move on to the playoffs of this qualifier. So, QPAD definitely do not want to get sent to the loser's bracket straight away. They want to at least even up the series, make the third game competitive, maybe get some momentum. And if they lose, then albeit, but or so be it, but at least they'll have the momentum knowing that they took a game off of EG, who has been looking very sharp recently.
5 seconds remaining.
QPAD also picking up the clockwork, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they utilize the clock, as WOG has switched to the offlane role, but I think in this tournament, I'm not too sure. I don't know if the roles have been switched once again, and that might be a problem for QPAD. They've been switching roles quite often, and we'll see if that's sort of gonna lead to a lack of familiarity with certain heroes, certain lineups, and certain roles. But I mean, they're good enough players, and they've been scrimming in a team house. They definitely have the good enough communication, but unfortunately for them, some of the times the decision making is not really on point. But EG gonna respond with a Rubik choice. Interesting that they went with the Rubik, but Fear has been playing out of his mind recently on the support role, and if I had to make a guess, this will be Fear playing the Rubik, as he definitely likes those high impact support heroes like Rubik and other heroes of that nature. Meanwhile, EG is going to pick up the Storm Spirit. They utilized that to great effect in Game 1, and now they have the threat of the Lifestealer Bomb, which I'm not too sure if they had in Game 1. I can't recall, but it will probably be Demon playing the Storm Spirit, Jayo probably playing the Lifestealer since he's switched to the hard carry role. Bambo will probably play some sort of offlane hero, Beatus will probably play some sort of support, and I think Fear will play this Rubik. So Demon and Jayo gonna have to have some good communication. Again, EG has moved into their team house, and ever since then, they have not lost too often. They've beaten teams like Navi, Liquid, Dignitas, so they're looking very sharp. Meanwhile, QPAD gonna snatch up their second support in the form of Nyx. Now, it's interesting that they didn't pick up either their mid-soul or their primary carry in these first round choices, as usually you don't like to get the carry unless it's a really high tier carry, whether it be a Lifestealer or a Lone Druid or something of that nature. Usually you save your secondary support for the second round picks, but I like what QPAD did here, because they know that Nyx would most likely be banned out by EG, just because Storm Spirit really does not like playing against Nyx, because with the Storm Spirit, your mana is going to be your life, as you definitely need all the mana in the world in order to have a huge impact. Meanwhile, next with the mana burn, we'll just eat through that Storm Spirit and probably can do close to a 500 damage when Storm Spirit only is at level 6, level 7, something like that. as Storm Spirit has decent intelligence growth and that mana burn does hurt quite a bit. EG gonna respect the Wisp Chaos Knight combination, appropriately banning out the Chaos Knight. We'll see if they ban out something like a Tiny as well. Although I have not seen QPAD run Tiny recently, they're gonna ban out the Brewmaster, again a nod to select, as Brewmaster is one of his signature heroes, as well as Magnus. But I don't think the Magnus is a respect ban. I think it was just, Magnus is a really, really strong hero otherwise. QPAD banning out the Skywrath Mage, so maybe they fear the Skywrath Mage as a support. That silence could potentially shut down something like a Nyx very, very hard, as if you silence the Nyx, he's pretty much useless on, and if he has no spike carapace, he will be pretty much fodder. But I don't think EG would run in mid solo lane, but maybe QPAD has the inkling that EG could potentially run as a support. It's definitely an option. I have seen teams run Skywrath Mage as a support, even though I don't think that is his best role. He's a very capable support hero. And QPAD also banning out the Leshrac, saying, alright, we already have our supports, EG need one more support, and we're just going to keep banning out supports. But the thing about the Lifesteal Trilon is that it's so damn powerful. You don't even need that much damage because Lifesteal does a lot of damage on his own part. And Rubik doesn't do that much damage, but the amount of time that you disable somebody on the back of the slow of the Lifesteal and the telekinesis of the Rubik means Lifesteal can get a lot of auto attacks in if he has a sufficient level of rage to sort of dodge the counter stuns that are flying his way. So Lifesteal Rubik is definitely very, very potent. As EG gonna ban out the Weaver, it makes a lot of sense again because Weaver will just sort of run circles on Lifesteal. Even though Storm Spirit could potentially build into an Orchid, I guess AG just really does not like playing Lifesteal against Weaver, which makes a lot of sense. QPAD gonna ban out the Darkseer as well, recognizing that EG does not have an offlane, so maybe they just really don't want to play against Darkseer. Maybe they feel like the chasing potential of Lifesteal Storm Spirit as well as the Darkseer could be too much, and with the Wisp you sort of want to have the edge in terms of mobility. So EG going to pick up Keeper of the Light very, very far into the second pick phase, as Keeper of the Light has faded out a bit recently. He is defensive, and more teams have been playing a bit more aggressive with really high impact mid-game heroes like Lifestealer, Rubik, Nyx, Mondred, heroes of that nature, and Keeper of the Light does do quite well in Trilon versus Trilon scenario, so this might signal an intent for EG to go for an aggressive Trilon, as Keeper of the Light is a very, very strong Trilon hero, and his limit will just do a number. So I think EG's last pick will try to get something in the safe lane that can handle himself alright, if EG is in fact going for a Trilon scenario. Although they could pick up another Trilon carry, whether it be something like a Gyrocopter or some other Trilon carry per Lifesteal on the safe lane, and just try to overpower QPAD that way. But if you've ever watched any of my Wisp commentaries, you know that me and SK always say that the best way to beat Wisp is to either make his laning life a living hell or just don't get isolated when the mid game comes. And EG looks like they're trying to do that. They have good heroes that can escape from the Wisp relocate. They have Lifesteal who can rage and TP out of there. They have a Storm Spirit who can ball out of there. The supports will probably not be caught on their own for the most part. So reasonable picks to face against Wisp for the most part. QPAD picking up the Dragon Knight, really interesting choice. If I had to guess, this would probably be a mid-solo Dragon Knight, but I've never really seen a Sing Sing Dragon Knight. This might be Waga's safe lane Dragon Knight. Maybe they want to have something a bit safer. Dragon Knight does do pretty well against Lifesteal because that Dragon's Blood gives him a lot of armor, and Lifesteal's Feast is of course physical damage. He can do quite well against Storm Spirit because once he picks up the BKB, which he will do, he can pretty much handle Storm Spirit. The problem with Dragon Knight is he takes a lot of time to get going. He doesn't really get much plus damage at him, so his damage output is not that great, and he really wants to have that level 16 ultimate in order to become a massive presence in these teamfight engagements. But QPAD sort of keeping his back guarded with a lot of early to mid game picks, so they can definitely sort of keep themselves in the game while Dragon Knight does get farm, if that is QPAD's strategy. But we're going to have to see if this is going to be more of an aggressive Dragon Knight with the Shadow Blade or more of a hard carry Dragon Knight with QPAD's last pick, as EG going to pick up the Tidehunter. It's been a long time, but finally Tidehunter is going to make his way back. EG has used Tidehunter in the past back when they're experimenting. I think they had Nelk play offlane Tidehunter quite a bit, or Demon play offlane Tidehunter in sort of 5-man strategies. And EG, this is really, really smart by them. Not only do they pick up a really strong 5-man hero against Wisp, they also pick up a hero that is kind of difficult to gank with Wisp, as QPAD going to last pick up the Queen of Pain because they did need a mid-solo hero if they did not put the Dragon Knight mid. But I'm actually loving this Tidehunter pick quite a bit because there's really not too much that can stop the Tidehunter. Burst damage is probably the best way in terms of making Tidehunter sort of become useless just so you can kill him before he gets in good enough position to ravage, or you just, you know, have mobility so you can avoid the ravage just on the back of your high move speed. But QPAD, Dragonite for the most part is quite mobile. Clockwork is not that mobile either. Wisp is pretty mobile, but I mean, doesn't really matter if you ravage the Wisp. Nyx for the most part is not very mobile. Only Queen of Pain is mobile, and Storm Spirit will most likely go for an Orchid build if I have to guess. So
10
this Titan to
seconds
pick
remaining.
could have a huge impact, and keep in mind, when EG 5-mans it up,
5
Wisp will have a
seconds
lot less of an
remaining.
impact in these engagements. So, I'm really expecting big things from the Titan in this game, who is going to be played by Sexy Bambo. Now just Bambo. He's no longer sexy anymore now that he's moved to America. But go is the call by Demon, as we're going to get right into this game. I was fast forwarding because I was expecting a lengthy pause, but looks like I am mistaken. But anyway, interested in the players and the teams, it's going to be Fear playing the Rubik, Jail is playing the Lightstar, Demon is playing the Storm Spirit, Bambo is playing the Tyranitar, and Beat is playing the Keeper Like Me. On the side of QPAD, we're going to have Sing Sing playing the Queen of Pain, Mini is playing one of his favorite heroes. I think this is his favorite hero. He's playing the Wisp. Somebody noticed that I muted Waga. I don't know why I muted Waga. Select is playing the Clock, Dragonite is getting held by Waga, and Jax is playing the Nyx Assassin. We'll see if he can manage to hit those Vendettas, as I'm sure he's practiced that. I mean, really, there's not really too much to practice with the Nyx Assassin Vendetta hits. But yeah, QPAD, hopefully they'll put on a good performance, as EG is definitely showing themselves to be extremely strong. Definitely the favorites to take home the international qualifying spot and not the wildcard spot. They are regarded as the strongest team heading into these qualifiers. But QPAD gonna guard the mid lane. Just checking out the item builds, it looks like Dragonite could potentially go mid, as he does have item slots or gold saved up for a bottle. Select normal offlane build, so Select is not playing the mid lane role. Sing Sing is going back to his traditional mid lane role, so it's interesting that QPAD's been switching up these days. Maybe they just have a lack of familiarity with their new roles as Jail. Gonna just run by everybody inside QPAD. Demon gonna find himself stunned. Tether by the Wisp will go down as the Illuminate doing huge chunks of damage, but meanwhile Select is gonna chase down Demon with the level 1 Battery Assault. Smart choice by Select as he does manage to pick off Demon. Keep in mind, Clockwork does have high base food. Illuminate does fly, and Jax gonna be in a lot of trouble as it's gonna be first blood for EG, but overall QPAD not looking too shabby in that level 1 engagement. Wisp is really not the best level 1 fighters, and when you're facing Keeper Light, who managed to cast 2 eliminates, it's never really going to be in a good situation. But QPAD having that high ground and having that element of surprise caught EG off guard. You could see that Jo actually just walked past everybody for the most part, and then just suddenly realized, hey, there's actually a lot of people up there. But interesting, QPAD gonna go with the Dragonite Wisp middle lane, as this is not something you see every day. They're gonna put Select on the top lane, trying to get some safe farm. I like that they're gonna give Clockwork a somewhat easy matchup, as Clockwork should be able to handle himself. For the most part, Clockwork is in positions where he can't really get the most experience, whether he's 1v3 or just, playing as a trial hero in a support capacity. But Clockwork can definitely have an impact if he manages to get enough experience, because he does do a lot of damage, and it looks like QPAD just going to completely abandon the offlane. Now, I'm not too sure about this move, because leaving a lifesteal to free farm when your main carry is very, very experience dependent is not really something that I'd advise for, or I'd advocate for, as lifesteal definitely makes great usage of that, as QPAD gonna rotate Sing back up to the top lane, and he's trying to get his farm going. 5 and 3 is going to be CS. Sing is going to have a really, really, really impactful early game, because each once he hits the mid game, they're just going to group up as 5 people and just go with the Tantor, saying, come fight us, we dare you. We have Ravage, we have Illuminate, we have so many ways to sustain ourselves as well as get the push going. So I really like EG's line, but QPAD, if they manage to get some of the ganks going, if they can hold on, Dragonite might be able to overpower the side of QPAD, as Dragonite is definitely a hero that can sort of fit that role very, very well. As Mini gonna cast those orbs all over the map, trying to kill off the creep wave. Select is gonna rotate to the bottom lane, trying to delay the push. So QPAD interesting maneuvers so far. They put Sing back on the top lane, recognizing that's a tied onto there. Maybe they were anticipating the aggressive challenge of the Keeper Lifestealer as well as the Rubik. I was anticipating that, but it seems like EG actually went for a more standard tri-lane setup. So Select is going to find his way back to the bottom lane. As, yeah, I guess that was what QPAD was doing, because they had the intentions of dodging the tri-lane by just putting their tri-lane on the bottom lane. But right now, Jax, interesting enough, put 1 point in Spike Carapace. He doesn't really need that point of mana burn super early because Storm Spirit is really not going to gank when he's level 4, but he's going to need that mana burn up sooner rather than later, and wants to get a sufficient number of points that Storm Spirit won't remain that relevant, as Waga and Mini going to control the roots for the most part. Demon won't really be in too much danger of dying. That stun will be sort of keeping Demon in place for a long time, and as I say that, there is going to be stunned by Waka with the double damage rune. They decide the time to strike was right now as they managed to clean up the kill, and if Waka did not have the double damage rune, I think Demon would have been okay, but that double damage rune meant that Waka was able to go to work, managed to kill off Demon, and that is extremely significant because every moment that Storm Spirit is dead means that that's another extra moment that he's not getting experience. He's not going to ball around the map killing off your weak squishy supports. He's not going to make his way up to items like Orchid, BKB, items of that nature. And I think in this game, Demon will have to go for a BKB. There is the Nyx Assassin Mana Burn. There are pretty long duration stuns, whether it be the battery or the hook shot, the impale, or the dragon tail, and even the cogs and the mana burn will just be super, super annoying against a Storm Spirit without BKB. So Demon might not be able to gank as freely as he would hope, as Bambo gonna find himself in a bit of trouble on the top lane. He's gonna take a lot of damage. Sing doesn't have any mana, so he can't pursue the issue, but Jax, his cooldowns are resetting very, very quickly, but Jax does not want to pursue the issue. Tidehunter quite naturally tanky, and I think he would have been able to survive regardless. So good job by Jax, recognizing that Tidehunter would most likely survive. Tidehunter does have higher base move speed than the Nyx, so even if Nyx got the stun off, there's really no guarantee that Tidehunter would have died. And Nyx Assassin mana is also a precious resource. Select, recognizing they can't really do anything in the bottom lane, just gonna pick up an invisibility rune. EG did manage to see that as they have wards all over the map, but no sentry wards to spot out Select, and looks like Select wants to make something happen. He has level 1 battery assault that won't be enough to kill off the support by himself. Looks like he's just trying to sap whatever experience he can possibly get by the neutrals, but he's not going for any last hits, and actually he's just going to bait the trap because we are going to see rotation in by Mini, going to catch up Beatiz, and a nice cogs as well as a body assault by Select, going to pick up a kill, and you can see Mini on his wisp really making a lot of things happen in the early stages of the game, recognizing that Wago would be perfectly fine in the lane against Demon, a level 5 Storm Spirit, while Dragonite is also level 5 with a point into Dragon's Blood. So he went for a gank with Select, it paid off, they got Beatiz the support, and that is going to be quite good because the 6-minute mark is rapidly approaching, and Beatiz really does not have too much money to get wards, and Fear definitely wants those fast arcane boots because they want to get the 5-man going ASAP, and Beatiz, I mean, at this point really does not have too many levels, so he can't get that chakra magic to really sustain himself. So yeah, so far QPAD controlling the early game, and this is really what they need to do because in the late stages of the game, it's sort of even for the most part, but that is assuming that Storm Spirit does have a good game. And Storm Spirit, of course, as I've said many, many times, is one of those really, really snowball-heavy heroes. If he manages to get going, he's incredibly difficult to stop. If he manages to get going, say goodbye to your supports in every single team fight, and that is going to be really, really bad, as Bambo going to find himself in a bit of trouble on the top lane. Sing going to cast that Shadow Strike, but not too much mana to follow up. Just going to leave Bambo be for now, as we are going to see rotation by Mini, going to cast that Observer Ward, looking to get a kill as Bambo actually running the opposite direction. Bambo did not see Mini, but the Aurors managed to spot out Bambo, so nicely done by Mini as he is making so much happen in the early game. Really, really smart play by Mini. His Wisp is really, really strong, but Emil in the middle lane, Waga, unfortunately, will pay the price of Mini's rotation, as unfortunately for QPAD, they did have wards up, but they did not anticipate the rotation by EG, and Waga is going to die, and that is very, very painful because look at Jao's farm. It is absolutely through the roof, and keep in mind, Jao had free farm on that bottom lane. Probably had free farm against Clockwork as well, so he managed to pick up a really, really nice kill. Got an assist as well in the first blood engagement and has ridiculous farm, and that's going to be very, very troublesome as we're going to see Royal Cake gank up top on Bambo. The stun, the Dragon Tail is just going to keep Bambo down, and this is really, really solid job by QPAD because again, when EG hits level 6, they want to be pushing as 5 and using that Ravage, but as long as they delay Bambo's Ravage, that's going to give them more time to farm up. So even though Leicester is going to become a problem very, very soon, as Leicester interesting enough went for the Treads build. I guess it makes sense in this game because usually when you go for phase drums, you want to be chasing, you want to make a lot of ganks happen. But in this game, EG wants to 5-man up ASAP, so the extra bit of HP, the extra bit of attack speed does help the Lifestealer. And of course, he can Tread Switch to get a bit of extra mana if he really needs it. And he is going to be the primary carry in this game, with Storm Spirit really not having the best impact. But they're actually going to switch lanes. Leicester is going to hang out mid for a bit. He already has enough items. He wants Demon to get some semblance of farm, Demon to pick up the treads at the very least, maybe start making his way towards the BKB or the Orchid. But so far, QPAD definitely looking in a strong position. Singh gonna go for an Orchid himself, gonna be very useful against the Storm Spirit, as it's pretty much a necessity. If Sing can finish his Orchid before Storm Spirit finishes his, that's gonna be super important. That can really mean that Sing can set the tone of the team fight. But if Storm Spirit manages to finish an Orchid or a BKB, then there goes Queen of Pain's influence, as pretty much against BKB, QPAD can really do nothing. So that is the only worry, and that's why this Lifesteal choice is, again, quite worrying for QPAD, because Leicester, not only was he picked up as the first choice and QPAD did not really plan around the Leicester, they also gave him uninterrupted free farm, which might come back to haunt QPAD. Meanwhile, Tether engaging. Waga is going to be open wounds. Here comes Fear on the rotation. Membo will be there as well. Not yet level 6. Waga going to take a chunk of damage. Mini furiously bottling up, giving Waga that bit of extra HP. Waga does nicely dodge the gank, healing up almost half HP. Select is in there for the counter gank reprisal, but EG recognizing that their efforts were in vain, going to back off. At least they didn't use any ultimates. Their heroes are at still pretty much full mana on the back of those arcane boots that Fear actually did manage to pick up, because they sacrificed some wards in order to get those arcane boots up ASAP. But now, EG, they have some wards up on the map. Interesting enough, they're really mid lane focused, so they want to make sure this mid lane stays safe. They know Wisp with the Dragon Knight could potentially make a lot of things happen, as EG going to smoke up, but I'm not sure if, or QPAD going to smoke up, but I'm not too sure if EG actually saw that or not. They had a couple wards around the area that QPAD might have smoked up, and yeah, I think EG actually knew that QPAD smoked up. Look at the way they're defending. So really odd smoke attempt by QPAD. Maybe they weren't anticipating ward there, but their smoke is going to be broken. Now EG knows that the jig is up. Meanwhile, Bambo is still not level 6, a bit worrisome as it's almost 10 minutes in the game, but Mini going to be in a lot of trouble as Waga not far away enough for Mini to tether into, as here comes Demon on the rotation. Mini will end up dying, but here comes rotation by Jax as well as Sing. A nice Sonic Wave, a huge, massive engagement as the Ravage Bambo hits level 6 at the worst possible instant, and a huge disaster for QPAD. The Tyrant was just too damn tanky on the back of those extra magic stick charges. And again, the Lifestealer. What a problem. Infest Rage just makes him so tanky. And QPAD have absolutely nothing to deal with him except for the Clockwork Power Cogs. And even then, with that Rage pop, Battery Assault, if Leicester is trapped in the Cogs with Clockwork, Leicester will be more than happy to eat Clockwork's metal scraps for breakfast, lunch, and dinner any day of the week. And that is going to give Leicester a 10-minute arm with treads. And suddenly QPAD looking a little bit worse for the wear, because that engagement was so significant. A bit of unfortunate timing, but that's what happens when he was a hero right off the bat. And with Dragon Knight being so low into his HP, QPAD wanted to take the rotation, they wanted to fight under their own tower. But the tank ability of EG's lineup was just too tremendous, and the fact that they lost one or two heroes right off the gate definitely did not hurt them, or definitely did not help them in any way. But still, QPAD, they're going to have to play passive for now because their big main ultimate is on cooldown, as fucking helicopters flying outside of my window. Holy shit. Not too sure why that has actually never happened. But yeah, QPAD gonna have to play passive because the big Sonic Wave ultimate that does a lot of burst damage is gonna be on cooldown for quite a bit, but Demon gonna take an impale. Here comes the mana burn. Waga does manage to get in range, looking to focus off Demon, but they don't have enough damage. They will be able to pick off Demon, but they used a lot of their mana in the process, but they are gonna be more than happy to take that any day of the week. And they are going to look to apply some pressure to the bottom tier 1 tower. They have that Dragon Knight, Elder Dragon form level 1 to give them a bit of extra poison edge in terms of bringing that tower down. And EG, now without the Ravage, you can see how much more tentative they are at taking engagements, especially when Storm Spirit, their primary initiator, did end up dying. So good rotation by QPAD, managed to count the Storm, delay EG's push, and now Sonic Wave will be back up, but then again, Ravage going to be cooling down very shortly, and EG looking to make something happen. They're going to use the Keeper of the Light recall to summon somebody right back in to apply some pressure to this middle tier 1, and QPAD might not be so keen on taking this engagement. And it looks like QPAD were not really in the best position to actually defend this tower regardless. The glyph was already used. QPAD is now rotating themselves. We're going to see a Wisp relocate in by himself, but that is going to mean Indy will die for sure. Just going to sacrifice him to the Wallace. Jax does manage to get a nice 3-man impale, but that is going to allow Fear to get an impale, which is such a huge ability. An AoE stun with a relatively short cooldown. What a spell for Fear to steal. And not too sure what that relocate was about. Mini has been playing very well in this game, but that relocate was questionable to say the least. And now EG, they took the middle tier 1 tower, and they didn't have to use the Ravage. This is best case scenario, and now the Infest bombs might be coming through. So QPAD Sing could be in a lot of trouble, as here comes Zip in by a Storm Spirit looking to isolate Sing. The pull, the Leicester, the bomb has detonated all over Sing Sing's awaiting face. I'm pretty sure Sing Sing did not like that one bit. Meanwhile, Waga, dirt poor in terms of farm, and actually in terms of CS, Sing Sing is the only one in QPAD's farming well. But if you look at the farm on Stormsphere as well as the Leicester, their farm is just so much greater at this point in the game. And Dragon Knight is one of those very farm dependent, very experience dependent heroes, and the slower Waga's farm is the really more detrimental it is to QPAD, because they're really relying on Waga in terms of late game DPS in order to have a good impact. Is Dragon Knight gonna morph into that dragon farm? I think he was just using to run away, but it looks like QPAD actually looking for the engagement. I don't know if this is the wisest idea. They don't have the tower and they're fighting against Raj, but QPAD looking to still force the issue. Mini using the orbs to scout out the map as EG is clumped up quite a bit. Jo taking light edge. Breath of Fire gonna bring him down to so low into his HP, but the Armor Taco is just too great. Meanwhile, Demon is down in rotation. Ravage managed to hit so many heroes on his side. QPAD Sonic Wave just not doing nearly enough damage. Demon gonna find himself stunned up, but Waka is gonna be the first one to fall. Jax shortly after Bembo will die to Sing Sing as well as Select as QPAD trying to stage a recovery, but here comes Jo. Look at the DPS being pumped out by the Leicester, just gonna tear the Clockwork. A new one. Mini gonna get pulled back. And QPAD, their initial salvo was unloaded onto Jo, but Jo with some nice armor toggling managed to outlive everybody's expectations. A beautiful Raj by Bembo, catching pretty much everybody on the side of QPAD. So EG, even though they lost 2 heroes, Storm Spirit did buy back, they managed to pick up 4 in exchange, and they're going to definitely take that and roll with it. And to top that off, Dragon Knight was the first one to die, so he didn't even get any experience from those kills, and now he's going to become further and further behind as this game goes on. I'm not too sure why QPAD looked for the fight at that area. They were facing a Ravage, and what did they have? They had a Sonic Wave. Maybe they thought since Demon was not going to be such a factor if they just managed to get some mana burns. Demon wasn't really a factor. The problem was Jo and Bambo, the Lifestealer and the Ravage, just managed to rip through QPAD. And the supports by EG did manage to survive for the most part, as Dragon Tail was stolen by Rubik. Really, really strong spell. Unfortunately for Rubik, it is going to be melee range, and Rubik, of course, does not want to be up close in your face. He doesn't have the luxury of transforming into the Elder Dragon form and sort of getting that extra bit of range on that stun. But now QPAD trying to play past the lead. I think they recognize that Waga really, really desperately needs some sort of room. Maybe that was what QPAD was hoping for. If they managed to win the team fight, they would have gotten Waga so much experience. So the risk and the reward might have been slightly more reward focused, but they lost the engagement, and now they are quite far behind. If you look at the gold graph, 5,000 experience gold lead for the Evil Geniuses squad, almost 5,000 experience lead for Evil Geniuses, as Select trying to faithfully defend the bottom lane. Unfortunately, well, I guess he's not going to be trouble for the moment. You know, if you check out the items, Bambo actually saving up a lot of gold, could go for something like a mech drums, as I don't think Jo is getting the drums. No, Jo is not going for the drums. Looks like Jo is going for the Death Slayers. We're going to see a zip initiation onto Select. The Lifestealer bomb once again exploding onto Select, as we all QPAD looking to respond to the tier 1 bottom push with the tier 1 top push of their own. The glyph has been forced out by EG. You know, QPAD do not have a glyph of their own, but it looks like QPAD will be able to take this tower. No, they will just be a little bit too late. The tower not even deny range. Beta is going to immediately teleport in, recall his fear, and this tower will get defended. So EG taking that tower on the bottom lane, going to defend their tower in the top lane. Really, really nicely done by EG. And even though QPAD has the Wisp on their side, you can see once EG groups up, the Wisp relocating ganks are really just not that effective. They have a pretty good tanky carry to initiate with, but they don't have enough damage to get a kill and then just sort of run away with it before any sort of reinforcements arrive. Dragonite looking to secure his drums, level 9, really just not having a good time. If you look at the levels, you can see Dragonite, 5th highest leveled hero in the game. Even the Rubik is outleveling the Dragonite at this stage, which is very, very worrying. Meowth Mini has an urn as well as a haste rate. Let's look at Sing Sing items, as he is going to go for the Orchid. He is almost at the Orchid, so that could be pretty good in terms of shutting down Dean. As QPAD gonna smoke up. EG definitely did not see this, but EG maybe sensing that something's up with QPAD. Look at EG's positioning. They're going to group up as 3 on the top lane and 2 behind their tier 1 tower in the middle lane. So EG definitely knows something fishy is happening. They know it might be a Wisp relocate, it might be a Smoker to see. EG looking to defend. They have some very, very escapable heroes on the middle lane, so QPAD knows it's fruitless to engage upon it. They're so far behind their tier 1 tower, and Leicester can just simply rage away. Demon can just ball away, and QPAD would be caught in a very, very awkward position with a Ravage and 2 towers between them. But all the while, Dragonite is farming up, trying to get to that level 10, and more importantly to that level 16, which is when he becomes such a menace. As keep in mind, the Dragonite slow does go through the lifesteal rage, but Demon, his BKB, is going to be on its way in about 650 gold. And once he gets that, he's essentially... Not essentially, he's going to be free to do whatever he wants. The only thing that can trouble him is the Clockwork Cogs and the Clockwork Hookshot, and that's it. Nothing else will trouble him. So this is going to be a very, very dangerous situation for QPAD, and this is the moment that they were definitely worrying about. This is when EG's lineup is starting to reach its peak, and it's going to be very difficult. Leicester managed to finish a 19 or an 18-minute Armwood Deso Treads with a gem on top of him, recognizing that Jail is going to be very difficult to kill. So Jail will be the gem carrier in this case. They're going to kill off the tier 2 without any sort of reprisal by QPAD, even going to get a nice D ward off on the middle ward, question mark? Hit the ward 3 times and then just back off, saying we'll come back for you later, as Waka will be able to pick up a tower as... What the hell? Demon teleported with the Leicester, but Vitas just recalled him. Bit confused. Mini is definitely very grateful, otherwise he definitely would have died. And Waka's just going to teleport back with them. QPAD's just like, what the fuck? Not sure if EG's trolling or if they're just having a bit of miscommunication there. Probably the latter. I think this tournament's a little bit too serious for them to troll, and QPAD definitely have options in terms of getting themselves back in the game. But with the BKB fished up on Demon, suddenly those options have been limited by quite a bit. That BKB again shuts down QPAD so hard. And Dragonite, not even level 11 at this stage, really just not having a good time. That dueling mid did not work out that well. Didn't manage to get himself too much CS. It might have been more prudent for QPAD to actually take a more prudent approach in terms of the trialing situation, but instead they banked on aggressive trialing being played by EG, and they respond with what they thought would be the best response. Meanwhile, EG gonna smoke up. No QPAD wards in the picture, as well they do have this ward. QPAD, may they manage to spot the smoke as they are running as if their lives depended on it. Waga immediately just going into the side shop looking to get the TP. Mini just hiding himself in the forest. But keep in mind, this smoke, even though it's not going to pick up any kills, it's not entirely wasted because they're shutting down Dragonite's farm. They don't know this, but it's still not entirely wasted as Fire Breath going to fly in. Just looking to delay the push as the creeps now are weak enough that one more rocket or one more Dragon Breath will finish that off. Or a couple of rockets will do the trick just as well. Meanwhile, Beatas is gonna be the stalwart sentry on the bottom lane, defending his tower valiantly against the scourge of the Dire in the form of QPAD. But they're just a couple of Red Pandas. Meanwhile, Dragonite, I think he's gonna go for an Armlet or a Maelstrom. I think in this game you're gonna have to go Armlet. Maelstrom is definitely gonna help you in terms of farming, but I think EG want to take fights, and in terms of survivability, Armlet will definitely grant you a lot more. So Maelstrom, it's a great farming item, but it might not be the best choice in this game. Meanwhile, QPAD gonna give up another tier 2. They really can't fight it. They know if they fight it, they're just gonna lose more and more. But still, it's always a bad sign when you're giving up towers, especially tier 2 towers, essentially for free. As Dambo gonna blink in with the Raj, looking to pick off Waga. Mini gonna sacrifice himself, gonna teleport Waga on out of there. And Mini, unfortunately for him, will look to trade his life, although Jerax might be in position for Mini to get the tether into. As Mini gonna get the tether, but the telekinesis is just too good. Storm Spirit does manage to pick up yet another kill, and that is gonna be a Ravage for just a Wisp kill, but still, EG defended their tier 1 mid, trademark MYM, or old school MYM, as Demon is going to be teleported on the bottom lane, looking to Nishan select. Orchid going to be popped onto Demon, but Demon BKBs the Orchid. Sing gonna pop the Sonic Wave. What the hell was that? That was questionable to say the least, as that is actually very significant. Without the Sonic Wave for the next 125 seconds, how can QPAD actually hope to defend their base? I actually don't know, because that is a huge portion of damage, and that was a level 2 Sonic Wave, so that was a lot of damage essentially wasted for nothing. So Sing Sing making a pretty big mistake. I'm not too sure how much that'll matter in the end, because Ravage is going to be still on cooldown, but actually the Ravage will be up sooner than the Sonic Wave. So EG, noticing that it is going to be down, looking to pick off the last tier 2 on the side of QPAD's map. And meanwhile, QPAD knows that their map control is severely limited. They know Storm Spirit, the Leicester, could potentially ball in at a moment's notice. And Joe slowly but surely making his way towards the AC gold experience. Experience still remaining relatively steady, but the gold graph is climbing ever so higher in favor of EG. It is not looking like it's going to drop anytime soon. Now that Demon has his BK, we'll see what he goes for, as that last tower will make sure that Vitas is going to become even closer towards that mechanism. He will have it in about 100 gold, as there is going to be some mass teleports trying to defend the bottom lane. Mini will sacrifice his life yet again, should just retreat with Waga, and that is indeed what the QPAD Red Pandas are going to do. Meanwhile, the tower on the middle lane was denied by Sexy Mambo, recognizing that it was just waiting gold, so going to deny it. It wasn't deny range. Dragon Knight did manage to finish the armlet level 12, so if QPAD can hold out just a little bit longer, they will have that level 16 Dragon Knight. Does have a decent amount of damage. He went for the armlet instead of the BKB rush, so he'll have a bit more damage, but still, against the lap that EG has, they're going to need more than just a little bit of damage. They're going to need a whole boatload of damage in order to sort of see them safely through the next 10 to 15 minutes, which is when EG is going to look to end the game. But yeah, Demon, that is the BKB. He might look to pick up an Orchid, could go for something like a Hex. Bambo might go for a Pipe. Pipe could be very, very nice against the Sonic Wave, as well as the Fire Breath and the Impale. As QPAD gonna rocket the Roshan, EG gonna smoke up afterwards. The smoke immediately was dispelled, but EG not gonna be too aggressive in terms of initiating onto QPAD, because nobody on QPAD was near them. Select staying so far back in his base. Clockwork really not going to have too much of an impact in this game at this point. His only goal is just to trap Jo in the cogs and just make Jo not hit his heroes for a good 5 seconds or so. And actually, Clockwork, I think he probably should recognize that. I'm not too sure why Max Battery saw in this game. It's a really good ganking and DPSing build for Clockwork, but it's not really good in terms of teamfight control, especially against a Leicester. And keep in mind, every time Storm Spirit does manage to hit the cogs, he will drain a significant amount of mana, even through the BK, which makes cogs such an annoying ability. But yeah, I'm really not liking Select's skill build in this game, because it's more of an aggressive build, but they need to have more of a controlling factor in this game.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, Beatus is going to be there. The immediate relocate out, because Jao was there as well. Gonna mean Mini's death once again. Sing Sing could be in a bit of trouble. No, he's just gonna back the heck out of there, as Mini won't tether Waga back in, looking like he will just die instead. Was manually really nicely done by Beatus, so he immediately got stunned after the tether, and that just allowed Demon to get another free kill, or Jao to get another free kill. Jao is now godlike, gonna pick up the AC in about 800 gold, and QPAD have not been able to get anything done for quite a bit. Dragonite going for the level 2 dragon form. Usually I want to keep level 1 dragon form, but I like what he did in this case. Level 2 dragon form does give you the splash damage, and Waga is just all about that farm at this point. He knows they can't really push, so the Elder 1 dragon form is really not going to be that important. He just wants to get as much farm as possible, and as a byproduct, get more and more experience. You know, Jax has literally been running around not doing anything, and such is the problem for Nyx when they group up. So this is why when you pick up Wisp with the first pick, it's not always the best idea. Especially if you solidify with something like a Nyx. Because if the team's smart enough, they'll just always stick together or pick heroes that are really difficult to gank. Fear going for Force Staff rather than the Blink Dagger, so he is anticipating some cog trouble in his near future. Demon looks like he's going to go for a Hex. Yeah, Lincoln's definitely not going to be an option, or it could be an option, but it won't be the case in this game because he already has that BKB. Meanwhile, Bambo picked up the drums, knowing that EG did not have any other drum carriers on his side for the most part. Leicester just managed to finish his AC with about 3.5 minutes left on his Aegis respawn, or Demon's Aegis respawn, so this AC will be used in the next push, which should happen relatively soon. And now the buildings have minus 11 armor, just going to make it absolutely paper for EG to bring down. Meanwhile, Sing Sing finished the Orchid. Unfortunately, has not been able to make too much happen with it. Really not too many opportunities. EG never in position for Sing Sing to get any sort of pickoffs. And EG's, even now, if Sing Sing was sort of, able to get one person, EG's just so damn tanky that I think EG would be able to withstand a Sing Sing assault unless Sing Sing had to blow a Sonic Wave, which he probably shouldn't do unless the teamfight does break out. Looking to pick up the BKB, but still quite far away. Mini looking to pick up the mechanism. That's not going to be in the cards in the near future. Select going to pop the cogs very prematurely, as the cogs have already worn out. I think Select not very familiar with Clockwork, as you can see that is definitely showing in this game. But even then, the question on how much impact Clockwork can have in this game is, I'm not too sure if he would have that big an impact regardless. Meanwhile, Demon just looking to get some charges. Hook shot in by Select, but the cogs unfortunately bug out a little bit and push the Leicester away from the cogs. Waka gonna initiate win with the relocate, as QPAD looking to do as much damage with the Ravage is just gonna be too much. The relocate was almost enough, but EG gonna escape completely unscathed. Only Beaters will fall. QPAD managed to defend the Rex, at the very least, at the cost of a Dragonite. Not really the best trade, but they managed to defend the Rex. Here comes Bambo, blinking back in, looking to pick off Sing Sing. Select does manage to get a really nice cogs. Bambo is out of mana for the most part, and Bambo could be in a lot of trouble. Here comes Mini on the approach, as Jail looking to do whatever he can. Gonna get one more kill onto the next assassin. Jail just too difficult for the QPAD Red Pandas to deal with. Bambo looking to pick off the Wisp. Wisp will be able to escape, but now the Rex are going to be in a lot of trouble because Jail is healing up all the while with the Urn. Dragonite going to buy back very, very late as the Rex are now under assault, but Demon is very low into his HP. EG looking to pick off the Rex. If they get it, it'll be a huge advantage. They are going to get the Rex successfully. Nicely done. Demon, does he still have the Aegis? He does, so he might just suicide himself. I think he is. Yeah, he's going to suicide himself to creep so he can respawn with full HP, full mana. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain was killed off as Queen of Pain was killed off a while ago. So QPAD, one Rex down. And it's not looking good for them. They might very well be knocked into the loser's bracket. Mechanism's almost up on Mini, as he's going to actually relocate to try to pursue the issue with Bambo. Bambo will get picked off by Waga, so trying to negate some of the portion of the buyback. But still, it's going to be, well, only about 300 gold, and Waga will have the finished BK. So QPAD still in a terrible, terrible position, but there is a small spot of hope. If Dragonite manages to get the BKB, if they manage to sort of outlast the Rage and the Storm Spirit BKVs, then QPAD do have an opening, but still, it's looking very, very grim. Waga gonna get that BKB shipped towards him. He already uses buyback, no point in delaying the BKB shipment. Unless he goes for something like a Maelstrom or a Desolator, which probably wouldn't be the smartest idea. Nope, the VKB is going to shift towards him. Meanwhile, checking out the golden experience graph, other graphics were taken. 12k gold advantage, 10k experience advantage for the side of EG. JO, 3.2k gold in the bank. Fear might be making his way towards his Blink Dagger. Demon getting dangerously close towards his Hex. Bambo holding on to a lot of gold as well. Bambo did die, so he lost a little bit in that exchange. Beatus died as well, so not the most skilled either. Still, QPAD never able to address the problem of Jay in this game. Picks up a Reaver, and once it gets hard, it's just going to be ridiculously difficult for QPAD actually to defend. Because Leicester can just rage up and just say, come at me. I have rage, I have heart, I'm magically immune, and I have ridiculous amounts of HP, and as long as you don't hit me, I will be regenerating all the tower damage. It's going to see relocate ganking for Beatus, but Bambo will be there for the rush. They're going to kill off Jerax at the very least. No, they won't kill off Jerax. Beatus will be taken down as it's going to be relocate out. Mini going to get out in 2-1. Good gank by QPAD, just trying to slow down the assault. That is definitely what they need to do. Meanwhile, Sig does manage to pick off a kill on Bambo, but is going to trade his life in exchange. Bambo going to buy back. EG wants the end game right now. Ravage is on cooldown, but EG looking to end the game at this very moment. Sing does he have buyback? He does not, so that might be why EG is looking to press the issue so hard at this point. Bambo gonna rapidly approach his teammates. Demon will have the Hex up, so EG gonna push in once they have the Hex finished. Sing still 30 seconds. Definitely not long enough to stall out the EG push, but still, Demon has to wait a little bit of extra time in order to pick up the Hex. Waga prematurely using his dragon form. No, he used it down the bottom lane, so that was still actually up. So Waga going to be fighting without the dragon form by the time his next push rolls around. But EG actually just going to back off. Maybe they want to have their Ravage up for the next team fight. And if they do want that, you can't really blame them. Maybe they want to have the heart up on JO as well. Still, QPAD going to buy themselves a bit of time. And DK trying to get whatever he can. Needs to really get that level 16. If he had to get the level 16, at least he can slow down the lifesteal even through the rage. Because lifesteal did not go for a mobility heavy build, he went for more of a DPS build. So if you can just slow down the lifesteal as assault, you can prolong the lives of your teammates a little bit longer. And if you can slow down people like the Rubik, the Keeper, the Tide Hunter as well, then that's just going to be gravy. But still, QPAD kind of forced to group up because they know that if they don't group up, they will be in danger of being assaulted by Demon as well as Jail. As Jax just looking to delay the creep, but is smoked up. Not too sure what Jax is doing. As if you're smoked, you can't delay the creep wave. And EG just going to smoke up themselves, going to look to try to make something happen middle, maybe anticipating that somebody will farm the middle lane, but if somebody does approach that lane, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. And Select, oh, Select ran into sight of the Observer Ward, and Select was immediately cleaned up. QPAD probably know, hey, now there's an Observer, but that is going to cost him a Clockwork kill, and that is going to mean that base is going to be threatened. Once this creep wave is killed off, the tower could be in a lot of trouble, and EG actually just going to ignore that, knowing that they have creeps in on the middle lane. The back to region will not be in place. JO does not yet have the heart, but seemingly does not care either, as the glyph already going to be popped by QPAD. EG just going to say, okay, we're going to take that for now. You can have your Clockwork, but we know next time we push in, you're not going to have the glyph, and we might have a heart. But instead, EG just going to wait for the Roshan, and QPAD, I think they have to contest this. If they don't contest this, that means Leicester can literally just walk in, hit the Rex, and every time QPAD tries to initiate, Demon can ball in with an Aegis and just get 1 or 2 kills. So it is a must that QPAD actually contests this. But still, are they in the right position? No level 16 on Waga. This is not looking that good in terms of QPAD just getting the space to or getting this Roshan contest, but still, they don't really have any other options. Sing does have a Ghost Scepter instead of the BK, recognizing that Leicester is a huge issue. And if he's silenced or hexed, that's really not going to help you. Or the Orchid is really not going to help you. Or the BKB is not going to help you if you didn't manage to get it ahead of time. I mean, Ghost Scepter wouldn't help you if you're hexed either. God. Sometimes I surprise myself with my own wits and smarts. But EG looking to get the Roshan. QPAD gonna run right over EG Ward. Select gonna fire a rocket, but the EG Ward did see that, even though QPAD was smoked up. Beat is gonna chill, illuminate from a very safe place. Here comes the initiation by Select, gonna trap Jail in. This is a good, solid engagement for QPAD. The Ravage not gonna hit Walker, looking to throw on the DPS on Jail, but Jail just too damn tanky. Look at him, armlet toggling. Really sensational play. The DPS is just not there for QPAD, even with not a successful Ravage. QPAD just did not have the damage. EG gonna survive, not even gonna lose 1 death, 1 life in that exchange. QPAD calling the GG, gonna leave the game. And EG gonna move on into the finals of their group, and if they manage to win that, they do have a pretty strong seed in the qualifier playoffs. And QPAD gonna be knocked down to the losers bracket of their group, and if they lose 1 more match, they're out of the qualifiers. No TI3 for the QPAD Red Pandas. They have to lose, or they have to win their next match, or otherwise they're going home. And even then, it's not guaranteed they'll move on to the qualifiers, or the playoffs because they have to win one more match after that in order to place second in the group. And Mouse is still in the picture, but EG looking so strong, just pretty much had control of the game after the 10-minute mark, I'd have to say. QPAD had interesting lanes. Wisp really made a lot of things happen in the early stages of the game, but once Bambo hit level 6, that crucial mid lane engagement where Bambo got to level 6 in the midst of the team fight really meant the end of the QPAD Red Pandas. They really could not overcome that deficit as much as they had to try. But unfortunately, EG just managed to brute force their way in, and again, the lifesteal choice just pretty much hard countered QPAD, which should not happen when lifesteal is going to be the first pickup. But EG using their bans wisely, banning out heroes that lifesteal does have a problem with, and Beat is ending the game with 6 over Venoms. Alright. But hopefully you enjoyed that commentary. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.